Hey there guys, and welcome back to another Game Maker Studio tutorial. It has been a very long time since I've done one of these because, in my honest opinion, I don't really like making these tutorials that much because I'm not good at explaining at all. But this one I don't find too difficult to explain, so I thought, why not? Today we're going to take a look at the sound a car makes in video games. Basically how it works: there's one idle engine sample that is being modulated in-game in real time. An engine works about the same way. The higher your RPM, the higher the frequency of the sound. GameMaker has a very nice solution to achieve said effect. We're going to take a look at this function right here. I'm going to bring up the manual right here. I'm going to search for sound pitch, which is this function right here. There's a very nice description right here. It helped me a lot, so if you really want to know what this thing is all about, then you should check the manual for that. So this function changes the pitch of the sounds you're using as the name suggests. You can modulate this in real time by putting it in a step event. One note about this tutorial though, this tutorial is all about audio, so the game may look ugly and the controls may be bad and wonky, but remember, this is all about audio. I'm going to skip the sprites and the backgrounds and scripts as they don't affect anything we are about to do. Object camera right here is the first one that does have a few things we need to use, so I'm going to bring it up right now. In the create event, you'll see that I have an engine sound. This sound will loop indefinitely. This is also the engine sound that we will be modulating in-game. And as you can see, I have a few variables, all of which will affect the engine sound. RPM stands for revolutions per minute. This is how fast the engine cylinders are spinning in our game. And then we have gear, which is basically the gear the car is currently in. If your RPM gets too high, you'll switch to a higher gear. When your RPM is too low, you'll shift to a lower gear, just like in real life. And then we have a variable called car torque, which is the variable we will use to modulate the engine's pitch more smoothly. I'll come back to that later. And then there's car RPM, which is there to measure the RPM in-game. And then there's phasing, which is all about the camera stuff as well as the rest. Now it's important, so we'll skip it for now and look at the technical side of things, which is the step event. Let's go there right now, and of course there's the alarm 0 event right here, which will play the sound effect on cue, because if you put this variable right here, the audio play sound, if you put it in the create event, it will play the sound before the game is even loaded, so that's why I put it right here. There's a slight delay. So let's go to the step event, which is called gear shifting. In the step event, we'll start with audio sound pitch. As you can see, I put the engine sound and the car torque variable in there. The codes underneath it is what modulates the engine sound. Then there's RPM is speed divided by 16. This is always a bit of trial and error to measure what sounds best for you. I've come to the conclusion that this value sounds best at this speed. You might want to change this division, the 16, if it doesn't sound right for you. Then there's car RPM. This mathematical mass is what measures the RPM. The 0.75 is the minimum pitch for the sound. If it gets any lower than that, your sound will sound very weird. It will sound crushed. It will sound like it has a bit depth of like 8, and that's not what you want, so 0.75. The RPM is what allows this value to go up. Then there's the gear divided by 1.8. Like I stated earlier, when your RPM gets too high, you'll shift to a higher gear. This is what brings the sound pitch back down when it gets too high. As you can see right here, this little mess, when your RPM gets too high, the game will automatically shift to the next gear. There's an unlimited amount of gears for now, but you can limit it to a desired amount, like 5 or 6. Then when your RPM gets too low, the game will shift to a lower gear, allowing the sound's pitch to go back up. The rest is basically controls right here. Still important, as you can see, you won't accelerate as fast in a higher gear as opposed to a lower gear. This is what happens in real life as well. The rest is all camera stuff right here, not really worthy of explaining in this tutorial, which is then again all about audio. So now let's run the game, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to go silent for now so you can focus on the audio. I want to thank you very much for watching, and make sure to download the file which is in the description to learn more about all this, and I'll see you guys later.